Welcome to Less Than 15, a show for busy business owners brought to you by DFK Australia, New Zealand. Each week we deliver bite-sized, actionable insights from industry experts so you're across the issues that really matter. I'm your host, Angela Raspas. Let's dive into this week's topic. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Less Than 15 podcast with DFKANZ. Today we have a really juicy topic to sink our teeth into, and we have someone to lead us through with some great ideas who you're really going to appreciate. Leanne Shelton is the CEO and a global AI coach and speaker of Human Edge AI Training. She's also in the midst of writing a book, AI Human Fusion, which is set for release in June of this year. One of the most interesting things about Leanne is the business pivot she took not long ago from a full SEO copywriting agency into embracing AI, which was breathing down her neck. So she is well qualified to talk to us in this snippet today about how to make the most of this expansive tool that is at everybody's fingertips. So thank you so much, Leanne, for spending your time here with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're most welcome. So really the question that is on my lips, and I'm sure it's on many business owners' lips, is how can we use AI for our external communications, but maintain the trust and the authority, and most importantly, our brand voice. Let's look at the concept of productivity first, because a lot of people talk about how it's going to help us with productivity. But from my understanding of your perspective, there's an opportunity and a hurdle we need to get over.
Yeah, so everyone focuses on productivity. It pretty much is the buzzword associated with AI. Everyone wants to enhance their productivity. Side note on that, you'll save time with AI, but then you'll just fill the time with something else. So don't think you'll be all playing golf every day or whatever you want to do. But the trap with that is that you get caught up in your own productivity and not thinking about how the content is going to be perceived by the external world, like assuming this is for external purposes, of course, right?
Yes.
So you might think, oh, wow, look at this article I just smashed out in 5 minutes, or this social media post, or this email, but the quality is actually really low. So it will save you time. Like it may take an hour instead of 5 hours or something like that. But you can't fall in the trap of just focusing on yourself, of how much time it's sped up, and not reviewing of how it's going to be looked at and perceived by the external world. Because this is where you can lose that sense of trust if they can tell that it's purely AI generated. We're all developing this sixth sense about that. So if they can pick up on that, they're just going to jump past, skim past, go into the next thing and go, do I even know you wrote that? Do I even know you believe that? Did a thought leader write that? Did AI purely write that? Where was the human involved? And this whole sense of trust is really going to be challenged. So you need to work on that part.
And that's the key thing that we have between ourselves and our clients is that trust. And once it's compromised there, it can be difficult to get back. So I know that you talk about the 3 commandments of AI when it comes in particular to your brand voice. I know that with the external communications, we're talking about emails and social media, articles, etc. But there's also pictures and proposals, award applications, so many things that we can utilize this tool for. But this brand voice piece, can you talk us through how these 3 commandments can be utilized and make a big difference to our use of this tool?
Yeah, so one step so many people forget to do is to train up their tool, like generative AI tools, so your ChatGPT, your Copilot, your Gemini, whatever your choice is, to actually understand your business and the brand voice and the customer. So those 3 kind of components you need to train up on to get any kind of quality content. And this is a new concept for most of us, because unless you've been in programming or IT or coding, you're not used to really making a tool your own. But here's the opportunity. So you want to train up on your business and your background. And this is all stuff that's publicly available, no privacy issues here. But the brand voice is such a big part of that, because this is what sets you apart from your competitors. As a copywriter in my past life, the brand voice was one of the key things that the quality of my content was assessed on, or whether they kept working with me or not, or made changes. And so we really make sure it sounds unique to you or to your company, and it's consistent across your whole team if everyone's pumping out emails on behalf of that brand. So you want to make sure you've done the business brand voice as well as the customer to make sure the words you're saying and the way you're saying it lands in the right way.
So when you're saying training, of what we're talking about here to potentially the uninitiated who may be listening, that is the uploading of documents and recordings, etc., that allow the bot to learn what it is that you do, who you do it for, and then the brand voice, which we are providing a resource for, which will be in today's show notes, is to get that tone of voice, that personalization, because that real danger is having us sound robotic with the type of things we're putting out in the world. So how do we capture that brand voice, and how do we prompt better?
Yeah, so with the brand voice, and this is in the guide you'll receive, you want to say, here are some samples of our brand voice, because you may have it in your style guide, but humans came up with that style guide. So the AI tool may not necessarily be aligned with professional, conversational, and nurturing, or whatever words you've come up with, or your marketing team has come up with. So this is a good way to test it out. You can just upload the style guide and ask to write an email and see if it resonates. Or you provide it with, a couple of articles, long form LinkedIn posts, emails that you feel really capture it, and then ask it to provide analysis of the writing style. And once, if you agree with it, say, thank you, please remember this going forward as insert business writing style. And then it will be more likely to sound like you. You may still have to tweak it, remind it. It will get better and better the more you use it.
Yeah.
But just by taking that step can make a world of difference.
Great. So don't forget to download the prompt resource that Leanne has provided. It will change everything in terms of the way that you're receiving the insight out of your WeBot. And prompting is a really important part of the quality of what you'll be receiving. Can you talk to us just briefly about how we can improve our prompts? Prompt engineering, I think, is the new term.
Yeah, so don't get scared by the words prompt engineering. It ultimately is like instructions or like a briefing. So if you think about your tool as being like a junior assistant, like a human junior assistant, you treat it accordingly. So same with the whole onboarding process. Like a new assistant, you go through an onboarding process with the business, brand, voice, and customer. And then for any further instructions going forward, you want to provide as much context as possible. Otherwise, it's garbage in, garbage out. So if you're vague to your junior assistant and say, "Oh, go write me some social media posts," you might get 5,
Yep.
you might get 2, you might get 50, and the quality is not there. And so you want to be saying, write 10 social media posts, and that each to be 150 to 200 words long. If you want more of the long form, it is to this customer, if you have different customer avatars, or it's for this call to action. The more detail, the better. And you'll realize sometimes that you've missed things when it doesn't hit the mark. And so this is where you then continue with follow-up prompts and say, "Oh, thank you. Please and thank you." Very important. That is great. However, could you please expand on that, or actually want to more like this? And that's then you continue until you're happy with the output. Or you take it offline, fix up manually, and then paste it back in and say, here's the final version for you to review. And that helps with the training of it going forward. So that's really good to do too.
So this is really important with that idea that, but it's going to save me time. I shouldn't have to do that, which may be some thinking. But when we spend this time in the prompt and refine, that means that the future articles, etc., that come from our We Assistant are going to have much improved quality. So it's definitely worthwhile doing it. And yeah, I never accept the first result, and I definitely upload the final one because I always change it. Over time, what is coming out is far better than when I first started with Claire. I've actually given my chatbot her own name, so then I feel as though she is really an assistant. She has learned over the last 18 months, and it's made an enormous difference. So let's talk about a practical example of someone where they have managed to end up with results that have been really useful and effective in terms of that brand voice and communicating with your ideal client.
Yeah, like I had an example just the other day. I did a one-on-one, so I do like these 3-hour one-on-ones or 3-hour team workshops. But for this particular client, she's in the ADHD space. I'm ADHD, have an ADHD daughter. We went through this whole process of training up the bot on the business, brand voice, and customer. And then we just experimented with it by saying, can you create some social media posts for us? And we said 5. Okay, we were specific. And honestly, I had tears in my eyes because it resonated so much with me as the target audience. In the past, social media posts weren't that good with AI. So it's come a long way. But I think the training, what she put into it, like she had a real in-depth document about the pain points and that messaging, it completely resonated with me. And you would never have known it was AI generated. And that's what you want to be getting to. Not even recognizable as AI, but I like transparency thrown in too. So I always like to put in little taglines, little disclaimers or something that says this was written in collaboration with ChatGPT and my human brain, just to be clear, especially that for articles, not so much for social media. But if you do feel a lack of authenticity there, you can always throw that in. But this example was just beautiful.
And that's an important choice to point out there, that yes, you can say that it was written in collaboration, but you are not compelled to. That is a personal choice. So when we're thinking about the next step for someone to take, now it's obviously going to be training up that wee bot, or if they haven't ventured into that space yet. Is there anything else that you think is really important to keep top of mind when you have onboarded and you are utilizing this type of assistance in your business? Let's say if you've got more than you in your business, if there are other staff, how do we ensure that they will be utilizing the same themes, the same feelings when they are using the bot as well?
I think it's good to form a team meeting and make sure everyone is training up the same way. So you're all starting from the same page and the same level. You can go into memory and delete past memories if there's any discrepancies or anything like that. But just keep the conversation open with your team. There are still people freaking out. There are people soaring ahead but misusing it. So just make sure everyone is on the same page, using it effectively and efficiently. And just, don't be afraid to keep experimenting, trialing it, but always keeping the human involved throughout the process. Don't ever let laziness or tiredness or whatever excuse just take over. I honestly use AI as a starting point most cases, or as a finishing point. Like, here are my rough notes. Can you just clean this up, or give some suggestions for improvements, or can you help me get started on this, and then I'll take over. I never just hand it over completely. Don't ever do that. And then you should produce high quality output that will resonate with the audience.
Fantastic. That to me sounds like a very good place for us to pull this wee conversation to a close. Having that concept that this is a collaboration. It's a tool that can certainly help. And if we utilize it with that perspective, making sure it's up to speed on what's most important to us, giving it that prompting, perhaps even in that team environment, we do some harvesting of what have been the best posts, the best things written, refeed that up and let your AI tool understand why these worked so well, and really treat it as that collaboration. But at the end of the day, which is, I know very much your perspective on AI, the human touch is essential. Without that, it would be an empty flask. So we really do need to combine the both of them together. Awesome. Well, I'll be looking forward to your book. There will be links on the show notes if you want to pre-order Leanne's book. And we just ask you to get in there, roll up your sleeves, do some prompting, do some brand voice training, and see the difference that having a well-organized and well-onboarded piece of AI can make to your business. So thanks for your time, Leanne.
No, thanks, Angela.
You're most welcome. Take care, everybody, until we meet again on the next episode of Less Than 15. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Less Than 15 and have a fresh idea or two to take action on. Hit the subscribe button so you catch every bite-sized business bulletin. And we'd love you to leave a review or perhaps share the episode with a friend. Less Than 15 is brought to you by accountants and business advisors DFK Australia New Zealand, helping business owners make better decisions through local knowledge, national connections, and global reach. We'll be back next week with more valuable insights to help you and your business grow.